Let's find out more about Norwegian, why they're doing what they're doing. Bring in our friend Contessa Brewer, who has a special guest.
Thank you, Brian, very much. Yeah, we saw the stock really popping after earnings today. And with me to talk more about it is Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings CEO Harry Sommer. Harry, it's good to see you. It probably feels like a relief to you to see that kind of double-digit move higher because it's been a pretty bumpy, it's been rough seas, so to speak, earlier this spring.
I love the analogy, Contessa, and thank you for having me on this afternoon. Listen, April was a rough month. You know, that was the month where we had the first announcement of tariffs and some macro uncertainties in the market. And, you know, of course, we had our earnings call just at the end of that month where there was a little bit of uncertainty in the future. But I have to say, since then, the booking pace, the consumer demand has been fantastic. We had record months over the last 3 months, May, April, June, May, June, and July. I know my months. I'm sorry about that. And the booking demand for the future looks incredible.
In fact, on the call today, you were even talking about what the website traffic has seen the last couple of days and what some of those, just in the last couple of days, what the demand is looking like. I'm just curious because so much attention is being paid to your investments in the Caribbean with Great Stirrup Cay and the big new water park that you're building there that will open next summer. And yet, at the same time, you're talking about shortening some itineraries in Europe and maybe reducing some of the deployments there. Are you seeing that as a trend that maybe the Caribbean is the place to be and slightly less so in Europe?
Yeah, I think absolutely. You know, we've seen a shift in consumer patterns, consumer demand, so to speak, where they're trying to look for slightly shorter and slightly closer to home itineraries. So I think this investment that you reference in Great Stirrup Cay, which we believe is the greatest private island destination in the Caribbean, I mean, one of the largest, and these investments that we're making in water parks and relaxation areas, adult-only beach clubs. We even have a jet kart track. I mean, it's going to be incredible. There's going to be something for everyone. So I think these investments and the great experience that people are going to have on the island will just reinforce these consumer demand patterns.
You talked a lot about getting customers to spend more on board. And again, across the industry, that's a theme. How do you balance that push with the fact that the reason why there's all this demand for cruises is because they're considered good value?
Yeah, I think the value proposition is so strong that even when we are successful in getting consumers to spend more on board, and we are, the value still is an incredible value. You know, our research seems to indicate that cruising is about 30% less expensive than a typical hotel stay. I mean, I don't know which of your viewers have recently been in American hotels. They're not what they once were. We have service and such a vast array of amenities from shows, multiple restaurants, spas. I mean, everything, great entertainment options, everything you could possibly imagine all under one roof. And if we are able to collect some money on board the ship, that's fantastic. But the value proposition still remains quite strong.
Is that what really is driving all the demand for capacity? Because you have 13 ships on order. In fact, you said one thing that's limiting growth is there's only 4 shipbuilding facilities in the world right now. Where does all that demand that you see in order to order 13 more ships come from?
So you know, the good thing here is because of the 4 shipyards that you mentioned that we talked about on the call, the industry can only grow at 5% a year. You know, the 13 ships that we have on order are over the next 10 or 11 years. So it represents about a 4% CAGR, 4% growth on an annual basis. Given how underpenetrated the cruise industry is, about 2% of all vacations are cruises, we think, and this limitation of growth can only be 4 or 5% a year, we have no challenges with seeing future demand to fill these ships. These new ships are going to be bigger, have more amenities, more innovative, more experience. Guests are going to love what we deliver.